So welcome, Joe.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hey guys.
Hey, I presume we were talking about where your beard had gone.
Yeah. But I just remembered there was a really fantastic conversation topic that I wanted to put into here, and absolutely forgotten it. But it was from a few days ago, so it's going to be at the far reaches of the mind. But it is. But back to the quarantining. I think that it's really sensible, and considering there's all these empty. Hi, Nikki. Hang on, I'll mute you. There we go. Morning. Considering there's all these empty hotel rooms, you know, if the government's doing all this stuff and spending all this money to make sure we don't have thousands die, they might as well spend the money on putting people up in a hotel room.
Absolutely.
Do you know that they're paying $500 a night for an average motel for homeless people? So the motel is absolutely raping our taxpayer dollars, and it's like fast. But their argument is that have you ever had a homeless person stay at your house before and seen what happens?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Costs that much
to
clean it and fix it because they don't respect it. It's like, oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I'm sure that's only the broad generalisation that's talked about in the news, not necessarily the truth for everybody. So we'll crack into our morning rounds. So we'll always start with the new people, and what we do is give a brief introduction of ourselves. It's not a rundown of your CV or a pitch of what work you do. It's just about you, meet the person, and then the best part and worst part of lockdown for you. And we go right around the room, but we always start with the new people. So we'll start with the first new person, which was Neil this morning. Come on, Fozzie.
Hey guys, newish, or according to my kids, well and truly really old. Me, I work for MuleSoft, which is owned by Salesforce in the integration space. Historically, I challenge, I change, I get involved in innovation, not as a noun, but as a verb, and love causing small challenges to corporate New Zealand, rip off the sticking plasters. Fair
enough. And what about outside of work? Meet the person.
Outside of work, I live in Pukekohe. I play squash. My wife would like to think I should retire, but that's not happening. And
you're only 20. You got another 40 years to go, mate.
Yeah, 20 with a couple of 30-year-old kids. I'm not sure how that happened. I paid it forward. That's right. I paid it forward. So yeah, that's me. I enjoy family. I enjoy sports, and I enjoy a damn good scotch.
There we go. And the best and worst part of lockdown?
Not seeing people. I'm energized with people. But
I'm a grumpy old hermit.
Well, you know, people, as long as they don't come close.
Fair enough.
4 meters is close. Best part, having a hit with the squash rackets and a shuttlecock outside with my wife.
Seeing a bit of that as I do our double walk. There's a couple that have a game of tennis, and they've got 2 45-gallon drums and put a 4x2 across it, and that's their net.
Yeah.
And playing with really nice tennis rackets and tennis balls. But yeah. Okay, well, thanks for that. So now over to Nikki.
Hi there. Hi, I'm Nikki Grandorge, and I work in the wine industry. So we're feeling pretty lucky that we've been classed as an essential business, and hope that's helping people through the lockdown. And what else would you like to know?
The best and worst part of lockdown, and usually about you outside of work. So
yes, so outside of work. I used to play quite a bit of squash. Used to come down to Pukekohe for interclub, but I was at Remuera. But now I just found the injuries too much, so looking for something else, maybe a bit of golf or something like that now.
The injuries don't help.
No, and they seem to take longer to get over. So yeah, trying to find something gentler now.
And the best and worst part of lockdown for you?
The Well, the worst part is I was supposed to be in the UK to see my family at the moment, so that's a bit disappointing. And yeah, I'm pretty sociable, so seeing less people, but chatting to people over the fence and things. And the best is I've been getting up earlier and going for nice, beautiful walks, catching the sunrise and things like that. So that's good.
Very cool. I'd like to be able to say the same, but I've been enjoying my sleep-ins.
Yeah, I think the novelty's wearing off a little bit, I have to say. It's later and later each morning, but there you go.
Yeah. Well, I got a really beautiful sunset last night, actually. Hang on, let me put the camera up to the gallery up to the phone. Bear with me, people. Oops. Hang on, where's the camera? So that was
gorgeous. Wow.
Doesn't quite do it justice, but
That's beautiful.
Oh, what's that? That's one of my famous screenshots. So there's a little screenshot. One of our sponsors for AFQY I'm doing LinkedIn work with. Some notes on one of his posts. So basic free tip is that with LinkedIn, never sell. Well, my little saying is story tell, never sell. So he put in these quotes saying, thanks, we put a lot of emphasis into usability and user experience. We want people to love the system. Some quotes from our clients are, I love. Then the first thing is brackets redacted. All our wishes come true. A signed case is amazing, so easy. Love it, don't ever change it. And that's what all the crossing out is. So it's nothing too naughty. So who have we got now? Oh, we've got Aidan, Daniel, Vincent. All right, so everyone's kind of been before, but we'll go with the two that haven't been here for the longest, which should be, I think, Aidan first, and then we'll go to Dan and Waikato. So it's a brief intro and the best and worst part of lockdown. We've just had Nikki and Neil, who are the newest to the AFQY Café here in the Bahamas.
I've been meaning to join for a few weeks now, I guess. I have lots of meetings in the morning because I work with people in the UK. But my name's Aidan Keneally. I'm, I guess, a startup founder, coach, and advisor. Best parts about the lockdown for me is actually I've got a little baby girl, new baby girl. So
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks again. Spend time with her. It's actually been quite good. All my work is remote anyway, so I haven't been that disrupted. But worst thing, few businesses going under. So businesses I'm working with, friends' businesses, so they're all starting to get a bit upset. So yeah, I think that's really it.
It's the harsh truth that we're not going to escape, and it's going to be probably the more and more common discussion, sadly. But I think we, with what's happening, we know that it's going to happen. It's just whether it's close to us or how close it gets to us. But in terms of meeting the person, I keep looking at that guitar and that long hair, and I'm waiting for a cameo of
one of these days. I'm not sure if it's in tune, actually.
Hey?
The amplifiers aren't in this office either. So
oh look, Dan's going to pull out his. He's the bass guitar. Oh look.
Oh, this
We've
one.
got lead guitar, bass guitar. Who was in here yesterday? Marcel's got drum.
So next time
I'll play this one a bit better.
Oh, you got to.
I'll show you my guitar if you show me yours.
Mine's black.
Wearing pants too.
Yeah, mate. I've got a guitar just in there that has never been used except by people that visit.
That could be something we do. Learn a song and do an AFQY Zoom jam.
Yeah.
Oh, Zoom jam.
That'd be one for the book.
A Zoom jam would be fun.
So one time after an AFQY event in person, where we are at a bar and consuming alcohol, this person doesn't want to be named, but they were known to the bar owner, and the bar owner put on their favourite song, Purple Rain, so they just started singing air karaoke. And singing it like really, so they had the music on. So we started doing karaoke. So I did On a Steel Horse I Ride. What was it? Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi.
Anyway, I know my voice is terrible, but someone was videoing it, and then this guy Matthew Cutts, who's a 20-year stage performer who sings amazingly. Like, it was, you know, when you watch that Bohemian Rhapsody movie and they have the Freddie Mercury and he's got an amazing range, all I could hear was that quality of like singing in my ear. So I was just like, handed over the ear mic. So yeah, I won't be singing or playing a music instrument. I might be promoting, but that's all right.
You could conduct.
Yeah. And Sean's nodding his head, so you can go next, dude. Oh
yeah, I can't carry a tune in a bucket, so I won't. I'll be the stage or the audience with the lighter up for the encore. So Sean Muller, I live down in Wellington with my lovely family, who I have gotten to spend entirely too much time with, and it is pissing down rain outside right now, which means my 12-year-old and 4-year-old won't be going outside today, which means
dun dun dun.
which means they're going to be so wound up by this afternoon. I did actually get a decent night's sleep last night. My 4-week-old only got up twice to feed, which was brilliant. So best thing and worst thing, work hasn't really changed. I think the worst thing is that I can't tell the difference between a weekday and a weekend right now, and I can't tell when work ends. So I found myself on a call at 7, 8 o'clock last night, and my wife texted me and said, "Are you coming to dinner?" And I didn't even realize it was at 7, 8 o'clock. That's probably the worst thing. The best thing is being able to support my wife while we have a 4-week-old. So that's me.
Cool. I just obviously found the thumbs up and the clapping, and just working out that you can't turn it off. It turns itself off after a certain amount of time. So don't take it as I was giving thumbs up to the bad parts. I was giving thumbs up to the good parts that are stuck around. Okay, so let's go to Dan down the Waikato.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I've got my Waikato flag there in the background. And, did I say flag? Scarf.
Have you dyed your hair?
Sorry?
Have you dyed your hair?
No, is it a little bit ginger looking in the slight, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I haven't.
That's right. Mine can be do that too. That's right.
Just create a beacon of light.
Yes, a satellite dish. So anyway, you, mate.
Yeah, I'm Daniel, or Dan. I am a marketer, as well as many other things. But the thing that I miss the most would be, I'd probably say a different thing. This is my third one, I think. I've said something different each time, but I'm starting to really miss going to the gym now. Like, I do stuff at home. I've set myself a goal to be able to do 20 handstand push-ups at the end of lockdown, because I've got like some dumbbells in a room. So I don't know if you saw my video yesterday.
Yes, I did.
Spinning around. I was doing a handstand and tried to make it look like I was hanging. I don't know. It was just, I'm a little bit bored. And I'm a content creator, so you have to show people I can create unique content. Yeah, so that's really shit. Not going to.
Was it the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? So using the reactions, the thumbs up, who knows the lyrics to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and can sing them? Not that you're going to be asked to, but can you? Give us a thumbs up if you can.
On the phone.
Also, we've got 1, 2, 3.
How do we use? Where's the thumbs up?
Down the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
On the right hand side, it has reactions.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Us young people know it.
Who are you calling young?
Find the thumbs down.
Well, that's debatable, isn't it?
You can't put a thumbs down. That just takes its time. So who should we pick out of everyone to sing that for us? I think Lisa will do the best job. Well, especially not you.
No, early in the morning for my voice, mate. I can assure you, way too early.
who's that? Who are those singers that I'm thinking of? Maybe a Janis Joplin or a
Bob Dylan.
No.
Stevie Nicks.
Yes. There you go.
Reading your mind there, Ryan.
We will have to do a karaoke after an in-person AFQY one day.
Yes.
Again. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it was good fun actually. It was really good fun. Obviously for all the disasters like myself, I was quite hilarious to everyone else. But yeah. Okay. So who's next? Must be Vincent.
I got to do my best part, Ryan.
Oh, sorry. Apologies, good sir. Should have rung your
I-
Mulu bell for us.
Yeah. I think the best part is like stuff like this is really cool. Seeing people more often through a screen and meeting new people with all this digital.
Well, you're all coming tonight to AFQY and seeing 100 odd, 130, 40 more. Go on, Dan. Say you are, please.
Yeah, I've got a ticket. What is it? It's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock tonight?
5:30, yeah.
5:30.
Yeah. Actually,
I'll
there's a
do
good
it
question for you. Have a think about it, because I was thinking to either go later, because I've got some international people that need the call to be later, because 8 o'clock at night is 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning for them. So it could be after dinner, sort of like a TV show time slot. Just can't be during CSI, FBI, or earlier in the day, so it's actually part of the working day, because we just make days work. But have a think about that. But
You know, you can watch all that stuff on demand, right? Like
what?
what?
What's that? With these crazy young people smoking these days. What do you mean? Yeah, I know, but we are old school. We live by the clock.
Like
It's 7 o'clock. It's Shortland Street time, love. Get the cuppa.
and all those lovely adverts.
Yeah, but see, that's the time we were in between. I'll either do what I call ad exercises around the chair, or I don't know, go and get more biscuits.
Which is exercise because you run.
No. Just sort of plod. All right. So, person cracking up the most, but try not to, is Joe Fair. So you can go next.
No, I don't want to steal it from Vincent.
Oh, sorry, Vincent. Yes, we haven't-
No, that's fine.
that's right. We had interruptions and heckles, which is absolutely all part of the fun. So, yes, keep me on track. Back to you, Vincent.
Okay. So, kia ora, everyone. I'm Vincent. Live in Auckland. Passionate about the future of work, and especially how we can change the way we work, especially within organizations. So, quite a good time at the moment to think about that and do a bit more. Favorite part of the lockdown is probably what Dan just said, actually, around meeting new people all the time through those virtual cafes and other meetings we have. It's not something we would do normally, and that's a bit sad, so that's really good. Worst part is probably also it's linked also to Zoom. It's like having so many of those Zoom meetings. I mean, and what Sean was saying, it's 8 p.m. and you're just like, what time is it? Yeah, it's already time to put the kids to bed or whatever, and your day just go. Like I look at 2-3 p.m. I'm like, I thought it was still morning. What happened? Yeah, so there is no downtime, and it's all full on. And Zoom is quite full on as well. Everyone kind of watching you all the time. But it's a great tool. It's just a bit full on.
Well, I put my thumbs up because I'm glad I'm not the only one. I start a day but might have 1 or 2 meetings, and by the end of it, I haven't got off Zoom. And it's just constantly a message comes in, or something comes in, or a person who you're trying to organise a meeting with comes back and says, "Oh, I'm free now." You're like, "You're a busy person. I'll take that." The next thing, your whole day is full of Zoom. And you mentioned the intents. Like, I think it's the always being on. Like when you're working. And I don't know if you know stuff about this with the singularity and the future work stuff, But when you're working, you sort of focus on something, and when you get interrupted, it takes a while to get back to it.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like tunnel vision on that. Whereas when you're talking to someone, I think the thing I've heard is that you're thinking 400 words a second, and right now I can see, 11 people. So my eyes are actually going like this across every piece of movement, because they can't help but be aware of everything. So yeah, all that processing power.
Apparently it's 40 minutes of non-interrupted work that gets you into deep thinking. 40 minutes, and each time someone interrupts you, you're back to zero.
I don't think I've been in 40 minutes of deep working for about 5 years, but
same.
Yeah. Well, ironically, I went to Joe before allowing for Vincent, and they are co-founders and at the moment sitting on opposite sides of the screen. But we'll go to you now, Joe, seeing as you're co-founders.
Cool. Morning, everyone. So like Vincent, obviously very passionate about future of work because that's what we do in our business. Also passionate about lots of other things, but especially people related. Best thing about lockdown has been those connections. So I think at least once a day or every couple of days, I'm getting just a check-in from an old friend, someone I haven't spoken to for ages, a really nice update on Facebook from someone. So it's been really nice to take the time to reconnect with people I haven't connected with for a long time. Worst thing is this weekend, Easter weekend, is a really big deal. I have a family who loves to celebrate, and you know, normally we'd all get together, the extended family. It would be a really big day. All the kids go mad. You know, just a really fun day on Easter Sunday. So it's going to be a lot quieter this year. So I'll miss that. We'll Zoom, but I suspect it won't quite be the same.
And have you got your Easter eggs in the window, and you're going to go on an Easter egg hunt?
No, we're back off the street, so no one can see our windows. So yeah, unfortunately.
So we're the same. So I have strapped a Darth Vader to our not lamppost, letterbox. So there's a letterbox.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I saw someone had done it with a Spider-Man where they'd used zip ties. So I zip tied a little Darth Vader figurine to the post, so it's about that far off the ground underneath a letterbox. I don't know if kids will see it, but did our bit, same thing. So we now have the drummer in the room. So we've got the drummer, the bassist, and the lead guitar. It's pretty good. Oh, and the singer. So Tiamek is the singer. Hang on, we'll get you off mute, bro. So Marcel just came in. Marcel, you're on mute. Hang on, get you off mute. Just while Joe was finishing best and worst part and sharing about how the big family normally get together for something like Easter. But earlier in the sesh, I was mentioning that I wanted to see Aidan doing his thrash with his long hair and his guitar. Dan pulled out his guitar. Marcel's a guitarist, but just bought drums. Tiamek is the singer. So.
No, I don't play guitar, mate. Not at all. That's my son.
Oh, you don't?
That's my son, mate.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you see the long girly hair on that video
guitar,
I sent you?
Rhythm guitar, bassist.
He's lead, mate.
Drummer. Oh, there could be some competition now.
I left my guitar at work. I couldn't bring it home. I forgot about it.
Well, Tiamek, I just have to say, has sung for the No Woman, No Man themed AFQY. So that was that catchphrase, "No Woman, No Man," was directly stolen off none other than "No Woman, No Cry" from Bob Marley. And we changed the words, or T changed the words to make it fit with "No Woman, No Man" for gender equality. But also sung at the 10th birthday of AFQY.
That was fun. That was fun. Got to live my dreams that night.
I know. Well, how can you ever? I mean, nothing will compare, will it? I mean, you had to turn down all those other offers. Yeah.
Well. It was bloody awesome. If Al Ritchie ever comes on, geez, he's the man.
Yes, we should get Al Ritchie on.
Yeah, well, one of those guitarists that can play anything. You know, you just sing it and he just starts playing it. That's me. I love that.
Yeah, he's in a band that does covers, so he's got the repertoire sitting there ready to pull out of the hat. And yeah, he's pretty shit hot. But since that night, God, what is it, nearly 3 years ago, we've been talking about doing an AFQY jam for that long, done nothing about it. So guess what's coming next?
Welcome.
Maybe that could be the rough lockdown party. AFQY jam. Bring your instrument and bring a crate of spades. Or maybe a box of wine. I don't know.
Dude, I'm struggling to do boom check, boy. I mean, that's all I'm doing. So, I was just trying to keep that. I'm getting better, but it's still pretty ugly, eh? So the neighbours are hating it, but that's their issue. Drums are awesome for lockdown, I'd say.
So drumming's easy. You go in a figure 8 motion and you just keep smashing.
Oh, you're a legend. That's it.
See? It's magic. Okay, so enough of me. Let's go with Marcel, who... Oh, no, sorry. I'm jumping the queue here, aren't I? We've gone with Lisa, got Vincent, Joe, Nikki, and Daniel. Let's go...
I haven't... You haven't done me, but...
Hey?
I haven't gone.
Oh, you're not? Sorry.
No,
oh, well, then sorry, I was talking about you singing. That's right. Get in there, Lisa.
Didn't have to do me now. Gosh, okay, so I'm Lisa. I own a IT recruitment business, but enough about that. We're not going to talk about work today. I was desperately racking my brains to think of what I did outside of work that made me sound interesting outside of drinking wine. Which is, Nikki, I thought keeping the wine industry afloat at the moment. What do I do?
The boat. Talk about the boat.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. So I've got a
boat party. I keep on.
I've got a 9-meter sailboat. So when we're not locked down, I can often be found out and about on that, walking the dog and spending time with family. We've got a really close family, so that sort of segues into the hardest part of lockdown is not being able to see them. We talk every day. My parents live down in Papamoa, so I'm usually down there quite a lot. I've got lots of cousins and my brother and everyone close by. My brother's and his wife are pregnant with twins, so I can't go see them and see how she's doing. And I'm just hoping this is all over by the time the twins are born, because that would just be heartbreaking, not being able to go and see them. So yeah, that's the hardest bit. I'm actually really struggling today to find a best bit. I'm not going to lie. It's getting quite sort of more and more difficult. I mean, connecting with old friends has been great. Lots of really good conversations with people on Zoom every day. But some days I can be really positive, and other days it's a bit like, oh, when's this ever going to be over? Sleeping. I've been sleeping well because I'm so exhausted a lot of the time by the end of the day, between them, working so hard and then stress and worry about things, and I've been sort of collapsing and getting some great sleep. So that'll be a positive, I think, today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yep. I got to say, I have been sleeping more, and I wondered whether that was a sign of old age or a sign of exhaustion. I haven't worked out yet, but you're not alone on the extra sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm definitely keen, to do the boat party.
Yep.
I don't know how many if we can fit.
Not that many. We'd have to do it. Nowhere near that. So might not be able to do.
Maybe we need the AFQY flotilla. Everyone that owns a boat.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get a few boats together and do it that way. That'd be the one.
Okay. So I think. Oh, Anthony, you didn't. I thought you said a note you had to go. Hang on, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going now. I've got my team meeting.
You better go to that. Better be on time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot about the 9 o'clockers, and Sean, you're 9 o'clock as well. But you luckily we got you in beforehand. Well,
See you guys on Tuesday.
Have a good day. See you tonight.
Oh yeah, tonight. That's right. Yep.
All right. Well, let's go to Gemma next. Patiently sitting there quietly.
Hi, I'm Gemma. I had to run off a couple of minutes ago because my cat had tried to she brought in a monarch butterfly. She likes to catch them and play with them, but I had to tell her off. So I'm Gemma. I'm a copywriter, content writer. I recently got married and we have a dog and a cat. Best part of lockdown has been kind of just having more time to myself, not having to I guess, go to lots of events. Like you can get away with not attending.
You don't mean to
events a lot
say that.
easier. Yeah, I know, but
I know exactly what you mean because I've been enjoying that too. Sorry.
yeah. The worst part today is that today is my husband's mum's birthday, and the present we've got to drop off to her is some Turkish delight and chocolate we got from the supermarket, and we can't have like the big traditional sort of celebration. So that's kind of hard because usually we'd go out for dinner or have a big sort of family dinner at their place. But yeah, we'll do like a virtual call or something. Try and make the best of it and do a proper celebration afterwards after we get our lockdown.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's just another one of those things that have to be accepted and dealt with. And it's not like you're not turning up, or you're forgotten. So it's understandable circumstances. But yes, it'll be hard on everyone. Joe mentioned family things earlier, so yes, totally understandable. Well, let's jump across to the quiet fella Te Omeka.
Oh shit! I thought we already done me. Kia ora te omeka. Yeah, kia ora te omeka. Talk lots. Like to have fun. And what I'm liking most about lockdown is really just going deeper into me and just finding out more about me. And just having a lot of solitary time, just to sort of realign and assess what's going on up here. I'm really enjoying that actually. Isolation is. It's funny because I live all around my family, so I live on these 3 streets where all my family, my brothers, my sisters, my uncles, my aunties, my nephew lives next door to me. And what happened when I moved here was I actually got used to actually not seeing my family as much, even though they're around me. Like, and even for birthdays, it just felt like we just stopped seeing each other as much when we all sort of moved into this area. And now that we're in isolation and not seeing each other, we're actually seeing each other more over Zoom than we ever have before. Like my brother, I love my brothers. They live just like, what, 100, one's 100 meters, the other one's like 300 meters. I don't see them for 3 months, but in the last like 2 weeks, I've seen them like 4 times. So it's sort of weird like that. The worst part for me is just the kids having to explain to them why they can't go somewhere. Like they're sort of getting used to it now, but they just like, I want to go see my Jeepa, or that's gangster for grandfather or grandpa. They call them Jeepa on the streets. Just little things like that. So those are the things I'm finding hard. The way that it's affecting them, but they're slowly getting on board. My daughter was rolling around on her scooter as we were going around the block, and she's like going, coronavirus, 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 and I'm like going, quiet darling, quiet. So she made a song out of it.
Well, that's good creative use of time. Got to give her up.
I thought that Verona song. Everyone remember?
Oh yeah, my Corona.
That would be perfect to turn into a coronavirus.
Sharona. It's got a bit of guitar in it too, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hand over to Marcel, the drummer, who's sitting there in his. It's almost is that a Jamie Oliver kitchen or is that a Martha Stewart kitchen?
What the hell? I was going to use a different word there, but.
With a lovely windowsill where you put the baked pie or the.
That's outdoors, bro.
Hey, that's a windowsill, isn't it?
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's outdoors. Okay. Anyway, Marcel. Going into lockdown on the Tuesday, I went and bought a drum set and picked it up and, stuck it in the garage, as some of you know, because ever since I've been 5 years old, I've wanted to learn how to play the drums, and it's taken me 50 years to get there. So don't let a virus situation and a pandemic drive you to take so long.
Nice.
Anyway. Yeah, so it's a bit of a hoot. So a bit of YouTubing, and my son plays guitar, and he plays pretty good guitar, actually, I have to say. Kind of rock metal. And as I was saying before, for a couple of you who look at Dream Theater and John Petrucci and all that sort of stuff, he'll quite easily thrash out that. Or you ever see The Aristocrats? Anybody know The Aristocrats?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're a
Guthrie
Dream
Govan,
Theater
those
fan.
sorts of guys, he plays that sort of shit, so he quite likes it. So if we ever get a jam together, I'll try and drag him along. And yes, he does have long hair, and it wasn't me playing Ryan, okay? Yeah, I'm just boom, chick, you know, and out of time, very bad timing, but what the hell, doesn't matter. Yeah, that's about me. One of the things that did lockdown was really interesting is before we went into lockdown, we actually fostered a ex-greyhound dog. We had a little dog who's on end of life, sort of, it's about 12 years old. But we got a greyhound because we thought, you know, we'll foster a dog and that'll be really good. Now, greyhounds are quite good lazy dogs. They just lie around, but they're pretty active when they get active. Unfortunately, he also, pre-lockdown, got a bit of lockdown and was outside and wanted to get into the house. So proceeded to chew all the joinery around the outside of the doors and shit to, I could show you some of the damage. It's quite interesting, actually, but he basically took big chunks of the door all around the house to try and get in the house because he was a bit pissed off with being outside. But he had a few issues. Ate my AirPods, gave them a good chew. Lucky he didn't eat the batteries. Yeah, shit would just disappear. He'd just eat it. So good dog though, lovely dog. It's just a shame we couldn't keep him because he and our other dog had a bit of a set too, and our old dog came a bit worse off, so he ended in the vet with a lot of stitches and bits and pieces. I think he got good ragdoll around his neck, so he got thrown around a bit. So we couldn't let our old dog suffer from that, so we had to move the greyhound on. But if you ever get an opportunity to foster a greyhound, they have a lot of challenges. So there's a warning to you for lockdown. Great, lovely dogs though.
Well, it's interesting you say that. With our dog, when we were doing puppy school and all that, there's a greyhound as well, and same thing. Well, not same, but in some regards. But it was very timid and docile, and
very fearful. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't know how to be a dog, so didn't know what stairs were. It looked at stairs, didn't know how to walk.
No, they don't. They don't. They if they see a rope or a step, they stop because they've been taught to protect their legs, not to jump and not to do a lot of things. So that's what we got told. So you can drop a lead for them, and if the lead drops in front of them, they go like, "Oh, hang on a minute," and they stop. You can walk with them really well. But they're quite frightened because they're basically not used to living in a house. So you know when you drop something or they get a loud, you know, they startle quite badly. So
yeah. Well, this one that so over the, what was it, 3 months or whatever it was, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Went from the most leanest, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, muscle bound
robo dogs, mate. They're amazing. Yeah.
To being to putting on some weight. Yeah, it was quite an interesting experience. And from the beginning, it wouldn't even allow me to get anywhere near it. And at the end, it would quite happily sit there and let me pat it and talk to it and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's amazing, I guess, what happens in the fact that they can sort of retrain and come right.
Yeah, it was good. It was, you know, he was really settled in, but it just seemed that just something set him off. I think it was food related. I think they got a bit argumentative around some food and some territory. Yeah. And of course, the old Labraspoodle mate got a bit dealt to. So.
Oh, that's very sad for them.
Yeah, well, shit happens, you know. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. But you know, I have to say there's an outfit called Greyhounds as Pets, I think, New Zealand Greyhounds as Pets, and they do a lot of the rehousing of the ex-racing dogs and do a really good process. So couldn't promote those guys in the way that they do things better and the support they give you if you ever are looking at taking we wanted to take them on because we thought, you know, a bit of a rescue dog sort of end of life thing. So it's good. Just a shame it didn't work out. I think it would have been fine if he was on his own. Just
yeah, most of the ones I know are on their own, or have been on their own. So yeah.
So there you go. That's me. And I'm shit drummer, but it's a good idea to maybe put some entertainment at one of your events. Just get everybody turn up who can play, who can actually hold a tune, and do some timing. That will not be me, but
yeah,
you'll sort it out.
AFQY Jams coming to you soon. Coming to you after lockdown.
All right, mate.
Right, so let's go to Anthony McMahon. How's it going, fella? Good to see you pop in at 9.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Running slightly late, but mornings have been a bit of a challenge this week with a nearly 5-year-old running around. But it's been good fun. Probably a couple of things for me that I've enjoyed about lockdown. There's 2 things. One is spending some good quality time as a family unit, and over the weekend, my son and I were out helping. He was helping me build a garden. Normally, when he's out in the garden, he's trying to dig things. But today, or that day, it was really he spent a good amount of time shoveling gravel into the wheelbarrow, which was incredibly helpful. And he was having a lot of fun. And we were able to have that father-son learning moment that you don't always get because you're too busy for things. So that was good. And the other one, and it just follows on from Marcel's entertainment. My auntie's a flutist, and she was planning to have a concert on Good Friday in St. Matthew's in the city up here in Auckland. Obviously she can't do that, so I've been working with her. Her partner, who's a cinematographer, is filming her. She's going to play the flute, and I've been working with them to figure out how to get it up into Facebook and into YouTube, simulcast and premiering at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So I've learned a lot, and could probably put down on my CV that I've produced a broadcast now, but I'm not sure if I want to be known for that. But anyway. Some of the worst things about lockdown, it's similar to Gemma. My son turns 5 next week, so start of the year we were going to be having a big party. We were going to be celebrating a 5-year-old's birthday and get him ready for his first day of school. Obviously he will still have his first day at school at some point, but his 5th birthday party is going to be me and his mum and him and his baby sister, and everyone else joining on a Zoom call to sing him happy birthday while he blows out the candles on the cake. So try and make next Friday as special as we can for him, because you only turn 5 once. And yes. Yeah, it's pretty much it from me.
Cool. Well, it's a pretty good rundown. Yeah, it's amazing. All these different things that are going to be different during lockdown, from what were big family Easter celebrations to the big 5-year-old anniversary to I don't think, but obviously there's a heck of a lot of these other things that we do that are our normal rituals and part of our societal norms and expectations. Because, what is it? You're a big boy or a big girl now. You're going to go to school. Was the old 5-year-old thing. Oh, here's a funny story to make you laugh. In these 2 times. So at our kindy when we were kids, they used to put the kids whose their birthday on the chair at the end of kindy, and all the parents had come to pick up the kids, and the teacher would say, "So why is Anthony on the chair?" And if anyone's adverse to swear words, you'd better shut your ears. And so in this case, they said Avril, who was a kindy teacher, was a family friend, played softball with mum and dad. This is important. And it was Rachel, and they said, "Okay, everyone, why is Rachel on the chair?" Mum was a bit late, so she wasn't there. And my brother, who was Rachel's best friend at kindy, put up his hand, and they always pick the best friend and go, "Okay, Shay, my brother, why is Rachel on the chair?" Instead of saying because it's her birthday, he goes, "Because she's a slut burger, miss." And of course, all the parents dropped jawed and went, "What the?" And he had been away at softball tournament with my dad, who was manager of the Otago softball team. And the softball boys, as you might imagine, had been using language that shouldn't use anyway, but we're obviously using in private amongst the team. But this little 4-year-old repeated it at the most inopportune time, at the most lovely moment in a kid's life.
Did you say slut burger?
Yes. It's funny because he said what he shouldn't have, but when I even said that word, I was like, "Oh my God, I haven't even heard that word for how long?" And started thinking of visions of Trump and all sorts of other things, But yeah, that's talking about language and culture. That's obviously the language that drives one particular bad part of society, or is part of it. But yeah, So it's more around your 5-year-old missing their 5-year-old anniversary. This was a disaster of one 40, almost be 40 years ago, maybe, I think. But yeah, so we still now have parents and friends and whatnot that whenever there's a birthday, and my brother Shay was there, he hasn't been because he lived in Sweden for a long time, but they'd go, "Anything to say, Shay?" So yeah, so your 5-year-old moment is going to be great because that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. He's not going to get the kindy graduation, although we're planning to take him back into kindy at some point once they reopen to do that, so that he gets that moment. But my auntie, when I was talking to the other day, she was like, "Oh no, he's not going to get his first day of school." It's like, well, he is going to get his first day of school. It's just not likely to be the day we expected it to be.
Yeah, no, that's to be expected and understood. Yep. I wonder if this, like we're going back into being more neighbourly to people and more accepting. I wonder if it's going to reteach us the patience we lost as everything became instant. So, here we go, the future of work, right? So, remember about a year ago, it became uncool to say you were busy. Busy, but it's not about being busy, it's about being productive. And, everyone thought that they had to be busy because that actually meant that they were achieving something. But then someone was smart enough to say, well, being busy doesn't mean you're achieving something. Being busy for the sake of being busy is nothing. Actually being productive is good. And more importantly, having downtime where you can, like Tia Meka talked about, just have your own time to chill. So will COVID-19 experience give everybody the freedom from being busy and actually have the downtime for personal, but also the downtime to think about work? Will we get more creative rather than just repeating the same thing because we haven't got time to think about being creative? Over to you.
Well, I think the interesting thing is I was listening to Bill Gates just earlier on a LinkedIn whatever podcast or something, and he was saying that he doesn't believe that we're all going to be back to like some normality globally for at least 18 to 20 months minimum, right? So it doesn't mean that we're all going to be in lockdown for 18 months, but he was basically saying until there is a vaccine and we have millions of doses of that, it's not going to be back to what we knew before it all started. And so then you're like, if it's only a few weeks, people will just go back to normal and it's like nothing ever happened. But because it's going to probably last for a bit longer, I think there will definitely be changes in the way everyone work, and working from home or other things, or what's important. What I found, if I don't put a slot in my calendar of like going for a walk or exercise, I will not do it, no matter where I am. So I think we all need to do something, but we all need to be prepared for like this will go for a bit more. In New Zealand, I think we'll be way better because I was just hearing Jacinda said that she might quarantine everyone no matter what that comes in the country. So we might be able to actually almost go back to some normality within the country. But globally, it's not going to be. So we will have to adapt quite a bit in the next at least year or two.
So down at Ag Research in Canterbury, they have a seed library with every seed ever been able to lay our hands on, and all the GE variations thereafter. I used to be involved in the creation of the software that's sort of like the library of it. So I'm just wondering whether one of the new things we're going to have to do is start growing vegetables. Or the thing I'm wondering is there of all the things that people have created, is there a registry of the things that we now only buy from overseas that we're going to have to recreate ourselves? Do we need to grow cotton to make clothes, or can we still get that?
Do we need to start producing high quality, cheap electronics to sell to people?
Yeah.
I'm still getting stuff from AliExpress, but
okay.
put a delay on some stuff. But China's back to normal really with their exports and stuff. So
yeah.
So was this a conspiracy theory by China to weaken America and take over as the world's #1 superpower?
No, no, it was 5G.
Oh, of course.
Obviously.
No, it was
Much
America.
evidence to suggest otherwise.
I thought it was America trying to destabilize China, which then backfired on America, wasn't it?
Oh no, wasn't it like Trump's opponent trying to like get him not re-elected? Like,
wasn't it Trump trying to kill off all the poor people so he didn't have to share his orange makeup with them?
The ones that vote for him.
Oh yeah, he's killing his voters, isn't he?
You're not stupid people.
I'm going to make a Trump-like comment.
Some of the thing I'm wondering is like, why don't we accelerate, the testing of like autonomous car or electric cars and stuff? Like, there's no one on the road now. There is no better time to actually do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And we should also. Oh, sorry.
Oh no! It's just I think it's curious. I mean, I think there will be there'll be an economic depression or recession, however you want to refine it. But I'm not sure we're all going to start trying to produce things locally anymore because we're a global society, and the roads will get clogged again, and it'll be like nothing happened. You think about how quickly people forgot about the bushfires in Sydney, because there will be another thing that will just take our attention. It's quite cool that people now are kind of understanding that you can be productive remotely. I think that's kind of a cool thing, but I don't know. It'll take a long time to get back to probably where we were, but human nature is human nature. Like, I'm not trying to be a pessimist there. It's just sort of that's kind of
that's sort of what I think, and I
Yeah.
I wonder whether there'll actually be a backlash where we won't just go back to where we were, but we'll go worse than we were. It'll almost be like the toilet paper situation. Yay, let's party! There'll be like massive alcohol-related issues.
I think it's nice that we have seen that our government actually kind of functions properly for the people. And you see how other governments around the world, kind of democratic governments, operate. I think it's a bit heartening to see that the Kiwis have just sort of said, cool, all right, well, let's keep each other healthy and we'll figure this out economically later. And like running around on the streets on your walk, you've got teddy bears and you've got Easter eggs and you've got people giving wide berths but giving smiles. I think it's been quite cool. But you will have people without an income and maybe without jobs, and I think that's going to be the hard bit. But at least we know that we don't have greedy, corrupt politicians kind of giving us misinformation and
people are kind of banded together, eh? Like people are general. Like there might be 1 or 5% of society who, being dicks and driving around doing skids and
I think
whatever else. But most people are, we're pretty orderly waiting down at the supermarket. Like yesterday I went down and there's a line of about 50 people standing in the rain waiting to get let into the supermarket one by one. And when we went inside, there was probably 20 people in the whole supermarket and 50 people in the car park. But everyone's just,
Understood.
It's just our reality, and then no one's, making a big deal about.
Yeah, I think we're really, really, really lucky in New Zealand, just due to the nature of the people in the country. To give you, and also the way the government's running with a reasonable degree of transparency. One of the things that does concern me is that everybody's talking about, oh yeah, we've had less cases. Testing's gone up, and it won't be a week to a week and a half till the volume of testing results come through. Okay, so you got to bear that in mind. There's a huge lag in that aspect of it. So that's just one point I want to make, is that we've still got a lot of ground to cover before we really know the situation we're in. I think border control is perfect. I think it has to be implemented. The problem with overseas, and I think the transparency around our government is fantastic. When I hear from the Philippines are in lockdown. Guy I talked to, he says within his circle of friends, he knows 10 people that have passed away you know, and that's him and his wife and his circle of friends. The official government stat was 98. Feeling is they're not even bothering to count. Okay, it's that bad. Indonesia, same sorts of things. They're not actually really counting, they're not disclosing, because if they do, the fabric of their society will just turn into absolute chaos. Because everybody been to Jakarta and Indonesia, you know how, you know, chaotic these locations are.
Yeah.
So, you know, they are really, you know, and you know, holding these places down. China to some degree probably did the same as well, if you read about their stats. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased that, you know, like all the reasons that you point out around the government management or its governance of it, the level of engagement. I just sat and watched the video with, that was the parliamentary council that's chaired by Simon Bridges, and the different business people were talking on it, and their various comments around the sectors, and, you know, from freight, from hospitality, etc. And I think, you know, even televising that and showing the transparency around the, you know, you're getting to see visibility of what people are actually stating is going on. I think it's all credit to, we're very, very fortunate, because it is not like that in other nations. So, you know, there's a lot of hell to be seen in Southeast Asia, in Africa, and all those locations. It's just going to turn into a shit show. So,
You in a lot of things over 30 years.
Sorry to bring you all down. But
No. Actually bringing us up, to be honest. It's quite sobering stuff, but it's bringing us up in terms of how good we've got it. And a lot of things that I've heard talk about, like they're looking at putting a Google data center in by one of the power generation lakes. And one of the key things was inexpensive power, the lowest or low government corruption, and something else. But that government corruption aspect, like, yeah, we have an egalitarian culture. We're supposedly classless, but we are sort of in the last 10 years probably looking like we're separating into not deliberate classes, not that it'll be spoken about, but, you know, people are separating into subcultures a bit more. But we don't have some of the same degrees that other countries suffer by or have. So yeah, we have it pretty good. But that's it, accepting the cues in the rain. You know, yep, we're all in the same boat. You know, there's no one here who's more special. You know, no one that can jump the queues.
except for old people and emergency workers, because they got an extra door for them.
Oh yeah, that's fair enough. I mean,
and everybody's like, "Hey, it's old people. Come on."
Exactly.
At least people aren't paying to get ahead.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
In those other societies, you're absolutely right. It's those that will pay, and you know, Indonesia's a classic like that. You know, so Vietnam, you know, same thing. That the stats are all kept down low.
Yeah.
So
I think you hear rumours that the states are doing that too. I think they're classing. Oh, again, this is all conjecture, but
I think we're going to see a huge, if there's two sectors that are going to come out of this with a huge democratization, you'll see democratization, and healthcare will change the way it's executed, as well as education. I think those two things are going to become globally democratized and delivered in a totally different manner than they have previously. And there'll be an equalization across the board. So does that
also see a different change in some of the power politically around the world as well? I mean, there's been the stories of America pirating personal protection equipment. So there were stories that they'd stolen or reacquisitioned in their words.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I saw the headline. Yep.
Shipments bound for Germany, and there's a rumor that they may have done it to one bound for us as well. I say rumor because I've only seen it in a couple of places that weren't confirmed. If that's what they're doing, that's really going to annoy a lot of the other countries that are in a position to influence and politically. You know, I'm not talking conflict here, but certainly I think that countries are actually going to step back and go, hang on a minute, America's not as great as everyone makes them out to be. They're certainly not as great as they think they are. What can we do on our own, and what can we cut away from America for?
Yeah, so a bit of a question, don't know how anyone can answer, but why is America the super dominant? I think it goes back to the Second World War and the collapse of the British economy after the cost of the war. But why is America not so much things like their dollar being the dollar, but their economy being so massive. So if by comparison to China, they're a third of the population and lazy bloody Americans versus Chinese who will like work their guts out.
Pretty complicated question, that one.
Yeah.
Their dollar is the global standard.
It's tied to the banking system and sovereign debt and all of that sort of aspect. If you delve into the banking systems and the reserve currencies, that tends to be the root of it all. And despite the Chinese government trying to work with the renminbi to get that set as a reserve currency, they're about 30 years away from that. But it's all tied to countries and sovereign debt and all of that shit, the whole system. That's what it comes down to.
When you say sovereign debt, that's how much New Zealand owes for loaning.
Correct. Yeah, and corporations and all that sort of stuff. It's all tied at around the US dollar, and that's typically what it comes down to.
Well, I went to Bitcoin South in 2014, which is obviously more Bitcoin than blockchain. Blockchain was just coming in at the time as the new thing or the next level. So everyone was still almost running around with their GFC masks and burning bankers. And I walked in wearing Nikki's HSBC jacket. Did I get it? But they had the guy who was like the editor of The Economist, who looks like Donald Sutherland, and he did almost a comical version of the history of money and the economy. And basically the point was, and one of the guys I was sitting with who's a full-on investment banker said, he's very Hollywoodized that, be careful how much you take out of that. But sort of the short gist of it was that money was backed by, it went through the different monies from shells all the way up very quickly and funnily, but something along the lines of all money was backed by gold. So we got to the point that there was more money printed than there was gold to back it. Yeah. So they just went, okay, let's deregulate it and change it. And with no rhyme or reason, no checking, asking, no thinking about it, someone in power just decided to go, we changed it. And that's how it was done. And when I heard that, I kind of went, so people just making up the rules to monopoly? Like they just change the fucking rules as they please? How does that work? I had this idea of governments and all this sort of stuff having some...
I
don't remember the history, but I forget who it was. But someone just decoupled it from the gold standard, and then it just became, that's
how you got the economic.
Look at the note. What's on the US dollar? There's something written on it. Very, very.
They've got the all-seeing eye. They've got all these really demonic.
Yeah. But there's something actually written on the note. So I'm just going to go and grab one. Stand by. I'll be right back.
Okay. Because they have the pyramid with the all-seeing eye on the top. And actually, the pyramids that don't have a top on it, I know this is getting really into I like these sort of discussions because it's almost like a movie, right? But the pyramids that don't have a top on it, there's one version of that, it's a gold point, and that's a way that they actually used electricity or energy over Wi-Fi and brought energy in, and it was actually an energy conductor. Whether that's true, but that's a great YouTube video. The other one is that, yes, there was the all-seeing eye of Sauron on top of those pyramids. Which do you think is the most likely?
Well, on that note, I have to run, but I will see you tonight.
Okay.
Nice to meet everyone that's here. Great. All right. That was good fun. Cheers, guys. See ya.
Yeah, because what it actually says on the note is...
Hold it up to the screen once you've read it.
Yeah, it's around the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, so this is one of the stories out of the GFC and the Bitcoin movement is that, the zeitgeist. There's a zeitgeist, 1.5 hour video, and it talks about the fact that the 7 families own everything. So the Rockefeller family owns the Federal Reserve. So as soon as a dollar's printed...
That's what it was. It was the Federal Reserve link.
Yeah. So the Federal Reserve and the FDA, Federal Drug Agency, are owned by the Rockefeller family. So every drug approval and a percentage of every drug sold goes to the Rockefeller family. When a dollar bill is printed for America, it might be $1. There might be a dollar bill, but the American government owes the Rockefeller family $1.10.
Yeah, something like that. You're right.
So they'll never ever be able to pay back that, which means that the Rockefeller family who are apparently reptilian shapeshifters if we really get into tinfoil hat shit.
Yeah, who runs the world, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyway, I better go, any guys. Good to see you all again. Thank you. Love the banter, love the in-depth, and always a pleasure. Yeah, mate, as I said,
the more you drum, the less I waffle. How's that?
Wow. Okay, what a challenge. See ya.
Bye.
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 See you later.
Man, what a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I
was also going to say to you, Ryan, that I think one of the reasons why America's so dominant and everything is they've got this fantastic PR department called Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy, what did I say yesterday about not extreme videos, but use entertainment to re-educate the world?
Yeah.
Hollywood is a PR. Exactly, yeah. So, Anthony, I won't go into it because I think I took an hour of Gemma's life she'll never get back yesterday, which was meant to be around working out our writing schedule. And but what it talked about was my change the world theory, and how the short point of relevance here is that there's over 50,000, there might be 50 million videos now in YouTube, which are really extreme views of, you know, the government's run by reptilian shapeshifters who come from pyramids, blah, 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 blah. And people go, oh my God, that's such rubbish. Don't rock the boat. Who's talking about that? And it gets dismissed. And one of my realizations was that while three obvious dictators in Egypt, Syria, and Libya were overthrown, we live under unobvious dictatorship. It's like boiling the frog. And a lot of the messaging that we get taught is through TV and movies. So why are there so many war movies? Why are there so many doctors and so many police shows? Well, what it does is it perpetuates accidents and bad health, and it perpetuates crime, and it perpetuates war. And it keeps people conditioned and ready to go to war for their country. So, yeah, I'll stop there. But the whole thing was, my whole idea to change the world was to get the messaging out in a series of movies, which is using the low-key education. So that what happens is they're hearing the language, they're seeing the behaviours. If it's popular, then they want to adopt it. Like, who wants to be like Richie McCaw? Back then, everyone that played number 7 wanted to be like Richie McCaw. Who wants to be like Madonna? Who wants to be like the Rolling Stones? Who wants to be? So if you are a Hollywood or a big star, then people create themselves in your image. So it's the new idol, I guess, like going back to church type stuff. Anyway, I haven't stopped, so I better breathe.
One of the things I remembered after our call yesterday, when I went to the M2 Leadership Summit event, it came up around sort of how do you change people's biases, and one of the guys was talking about an uncle that was sort of really homophobic, and no matter how many times they'd tried to talk to this uncle about getting him to change his mind, he was just not. And they were like, we can keep like being unproductive with this, or we can actually look at trying to educate him. Like, I think it was like they said like, why don't we start like a 10-year journey to try and educate him? And I think there was some point in there about like the Jurassic Park movies, with like the different sort of genders and all that sort of stuff. And so eventually the uncle sort of was like, oh, hey, like, and came to the conclusion through like having watched the movie, thinking that, this movie had like changed his mind. But using sort of it's sort of disconnecting it from like, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's like the different agendas that people play. And when Christopher Nolan did Dunkirk a few years ago, it kicked off a huge debate from the French felt that they were that they were unfairly portrayed, and the Indians felt they were completely ignored of their contributions to Dunkirk, and both those countries had significant contributions. And Nolan's point was, I wasn't there to tell everyone's story. I was there to tell the English story. If you want to tell the French story or the Indian story, go make your own movie. And I think that's part of, probably ties into what you're talking about there, Ryan, and changing the narrative is, if someone's got a story to tell and they feel that they can tell it in the right way, then let's not stop them tell that story. Let's actually encourage it, whether it be through crowdsourcing. It'd be great to hear about the Indian contribution at Dunkirk, or how the French helped get the English off the beach. But let them tell that story. Let's not assume that everyone has to tell it.
Yeah, that's an interesting view. I like to give credit where credit's due. So I don't know if you might not be signed up to my email, but I actually made a point of that, because I've been talking to Jim about writing an article about this. I get pissed off with not being thanked or recognised, and it seems to be consistently, for some reason, I'll be the one that's left off or not thanked or whatever. And there's actually there's an article going through about the saviour of a business that was closed down and got back in 3 days, and I was the person that said go online, because that person was almost become a speaker at AFQY, because their comment to me was, oh my God, my business has just disappeared in front of my very eyes. I don't know what to do. And I replied, do you want to be a speaker at AFQY? And they said, no, you should take your business online. Like exactly what I've done. And they have, and now their article about it is now up to 900 likes and fucking thousands of comments. And they thank everybody else but me. Where did it actually start? And that's why I put in my email, I said the obvious thing is to go online, so I'm not going to try and claim anything special, but if you're going to thank everybody else, you should thank everybody involved. But it seems to be almost like a tall poppy or a something. Like I've come up against it so many times, and people try to claim my work as theirs and all sorts of shit. So that for me, coming back to your point, I would actually agree with the Indian and the French, because it's a misrepresentation of the true story. And if no one else knew any different, if no one else raised it, they would just think it was all the English. And in actual fact, and also if you think about the French get a flogging because they got walked over by the Germans in the World War, and therefore they want to say, well, actually, hang on, we didn't just get fucked over, we helped you when you got fucked over too. So to me, because what happens is, if you don't, then as you can tell, I've raised it and said I don't think it's good enough. And the interesting thing is, the only people ever say, oh, come on, get over it, just be stoic, are the people that have never had it done to them. Right. So generally these comments come to me from my mentors who are big, strong personalities and leaders, and no way will anyone not fucking thank them. In fact, they're the first people to thank, even if they did nothing, because it gets kudos. Oh, so-and-so was involved, so-and-so was involved. It's how we as animals perpetuate the social pecking order, but use social proof as a way to raise ourselves up. So if I've been involved with this guy, and they're part of my story, suddenly I'm on their level and I play at their rank. So everyone down there. I
think within there, Ryan, there's probably two parts. There's gratitude, definitely gratitude. I fully agree with you. If someone's helped you along the way, acknowledging that, saying thanks, sharing that becomes part of it, versus telling their story. So kind of where I see with using the Dunkirk example, Nolan wasn't trying to tell everyone's story. He could have still shown the gratitude to the other countries that were involved and supported England in that endeavour, which he didn't, and that's probably a different point in there. But when it comes to telling stories, I think we've also got to be careful that we don't try and misrepresent everyone else's input by telling their story on their behalf. We've got to let them tell their own story.
Yeah, like I can see that. And this is maybe a little bit of me coming out, but I can turn around and go, that's just your fucking excuse to cover that you didn't want to tell the fact that the French saved your ass. You want to make out as though you're the heroes, and that's not true. So I would still sort of say, yes, you can make your own movie, and yes, you can do your English movie from the English perspective, but it should also include that the French came in and saved your ass on the beach. I don't know the story, but I'm just using your words.
It's the gratitude element, I think, that comes in there. Gratitude should play a big part in the story you're telling. If someone else,
and if you're going to go and do a story, you go to the people and get them involved, right? So that it is correct. It's like it's like they use real police people to guide actors to make sure they do the police things true. Like they go to the real Red Indians, I don't think you call them that, but to make sure that the representation of their culture and everything is true in the movies. Because you go back 50 years in the John Wayne and you got guys that have got orange makeup on their face and a thick headband like that with plaits hanging off it. Me Indian talk like this. And, you know, all these misrepresentations from the past. So, yeah, but this is the thing. You have a view, I have a view, Gemma has a third view. That's part of it as well. Like we're all entitled, and I think every view is completely acceptable unless it's a nasty view.
Unless it's a dumb view. All right, I have to go make another call.
Yeah,
I'll catch you guys later.
I'll wrap up there too.
Good talking.
And I'll see you tonight, Ryan. See you at 6:30.
Will do.
Okay.
Another one for you. All right. Cheers.